Hello, my name is Clare and I'm Chief Exec of the National Rheumatoid Arthritis Society. I'm joined here today with Deborah. You're very welcome, Deborah.
Morning.
And we're going to talk a little bit about the impact of rheumatoid arthritis on individual people's lives, but also the decision that we've heard from NICE about the access to biologics for people with moderate disease. So, Deborah, tell us a little bit about yourself. When were you diagnosed, and what was the impact of getting a diagnosis and living with rheumatoid arthritis?
Crikey. Well, it was I'm 50 years old. I'm a nurse, occupational health nurse, and I was diagnosed back in 2014. It started with palindromic rheumatism, actually. I was always like a bit of a gym freak. So I was like going to the gym every single day, really conscious about how I looked and everything. And I'd had like a few major life events going on at the same time, well, just before that. And I thought it was because I was doing too much at the gym. My knees were hurting, my elbows were hurting, my wrists were hurting. I was getting really tired. So I thought, right, I'll knock it on the head for a couple of weeks to see if that helps. No improvement whatsoever. In fact, it got worse. So I made an appointment to see my GP. He did like a usual screen of bloods, and I think it came back my inflammatory markers were raised, and I think he did a rheumatoid factor blood test as well, and that came back positive. So from there he referred me on to rheumatology. So I ended up seeing a rheumatologist, and they said I had palindromic rheumatism. So I was plodding along on some hydroxy for a couple of years, and then I progressed into rheumatoid arthritis. It was in 2017. Mm-hmm. So since then, I have been very much up and down with joint swelling, feet really painful, really bad fatigue. Some days when I've really struggled to get out of bed. And it's just had such an impact, because at first, obviously I've had to stop going to the gym for the most part, so I cancelled my gym membership because everything was just too painful. I couldn't do anything. Then I spent some time off work because I was struggling to mobilise. It was that bad, and eventually I sort of settled down a little bit. So I went back into work, not going back to the gym. It was just work, sleep. So no real sort of life going on.
And what was the impact then on your emotional health and your mental health of that? That sounds like a pretty dreary way to conduct your life.
Yeah, it was horrible. It was horrible. I mean, I had people to speak to at work about it, because obviously they were nurses and they kind of understood. But I think family members, I really had to sort of educate them, because they just think, oh, it's arthritis, take some painkillers and you'll be fine, crack on. And it's not that simple. I wish it was. But they've got a lot better and a lot more supportive now. They've got a better understanding of it. In terms of the impact socially, it's affected me meeting up with friends and going out for a night out and things like that, because I just can't plan anything because I don't know if I'm going to be having a flare up or not. So I sort of got to the point where I sort of say I decline things now, and I'll say if I'm okay then I'll come, but I'm just going to say no for now. So I find that quite isolating. Just feel like a bit of a party pooper a lot of the time.
And that's very common. Lots of people say, and then people stop asking, and you kind of get dropped off of the sort of social circle that you perhaps were before, because and it is that unpredictability of the condition, never knowing when you're going to flare. And are you still having many flares? Do you feel your rheumatoid arthritis is controlled, or do you
feel definitely not?
What's like at the moment for you?
Well, this past week I've been having quite a lot of pain in my feet and my knees and my wrists. I do try and hold back on the painkillers, because I think you sort of get used to a level of pain. It becomes your normal when you're experiencing it every day. But when it gets to the point where the pain is making me feel nauseous, then I will take pain relief then. I think the worst flare-up I had, well, most recently, the worst one I had was in November. I had one in November last year, and before that, it was July, and that lasted for about 6 weeks.
Wow, 6 weeks.
Yeah, it was just horrendous.
And what were they able to do to help you get over that flare? What was the treatment that they were offering at?
This is a bit of a sticky point, really, because I did try and contact my rheumatology nurses, and they were not very helpful in the slightest. So I just sort of like muddled on, and I knew I was having an appointment with my specialist in the October, so I started to keep a diary. I took photographs of everything, because I felt like when I spoke to the nurses, I know that they're really busy and things, but it's like you just I was being brushed off, not taken seriously. So I think it was because I was working, but I was able to work from home. So it's like, oh, well, you're working, you can't possibly be that bad. And it's like, well, I'm sat at home. It's a bit different than having to get in your car and drive to work and be unpacking all like your laptops and equipment and everything. So yeah, it was in the October. Spoke to the specialist. Was given steroids as well, and that really helped. And I've also asked if I could go on subcutaneous methotrexate.
Good, yeah.
That has helped a little bit in terms of like managing the pain, but I can't say I have a day that goes by where I don't have pain.
So every day you wake up knowing that you're going to face a day with pain.
Yeah.
And so how do you feel the fact that that's considered or labeled as moderate disease?
I think it's quite a subjective, and I think the people that sort of like define these categories, unless they've actually got some that themselves, they don't understand.
Yeah.
And what might be moderate to them, like somebody else, it can be quite severe. So because I don't feel I am managed particularly well, then I would say I would be more in the moderate severe, because it impacts on my life every single day.
I mean, I personally think moderate is the wrong word, because moderate in every other use of the word,
it's mild.
It's mild. It's okay-ish, But from what you're describing, it really is just active disease, very active disease at times. And yes, it's unpredictable and it goes through, peaks and troughs. So we've had this announcement from the National Institute for Health and Care Excellence, NICE, that they now will allow access to some of the advanced therapies, some of, biologics, anti-TNFs, for those that are in your category. Now, it may not necessarily be you. There's assessments to go through, etc. But if you were given the access to these advanced therapies, what difference do you think it might make to your life?
I think it would make a huge difference. Not only not having, hopefully I wouldn't be having like pain every day, but I could get back to doing the things that I was doing in my life pre-rheumatoid arthritis, that's all been sort of like put on hold. And it's like a past version of myself. And I'd like to get back there.
So you'd like to get back to that party, Deborah?
Yes, absolutely.
The one that doesn't turn down the invitation.
Yeah, absolutely. And able to go to the gym or to go on like long walks. I used to do a lot of fell walking in the Lake District, and I can't do that now. I mean, I tried, I think it's last July, to do something with a friend. Been camping in the lakes and we wanted to go on a walk, and we'd literally probably walk not even half a mile, and I said, I'm sorry, I need to turn back. I can't do it. My feet and my knees are too painful.
And this is, you know, you'd experienced that joy of fell walking. That was something you were
I loved it. Yeah, loved it.
Well, I really do hope that there will be a brighter future for you if you are able to access these. Do keep us informed. We'd love to hear how things go. And thank you so much, Deborah, for sharing your experience of what it's like, as you said, to live every day in pain with rheumatoid arthritis. It's, you know, you look marvellous. You certainly don't look pretty, by the way. And so it's so invisible for people to understand.
Yeah, and that's the thing as well. It's so misunderstood. It's like when you say you've got rheumatoid arthritis, everyone thinks it's just like osteoarthritis. You know, they don't see the bigger picture, the impact that it can have, not only like in your joints, but in other areas of your body as well.
Yes.
And how it affects the whole of you, not just your joints. Like, you know, like say, it's like your mental well-being, your emotional well-being, and just everything that makes you who you are as a person.
So you feel part of you has been kind of taken away, and let's hope, as I said, with fingers crossed and a fair wind, and that if you're able to access these biologics, you won't get, you know, we'll see the old Deborah back again.
Oh yeah, there'd be no stopping me. I'd be off.
Well, let's hope for the right choice in the future. Thank you very much, Deborah.
No, thank you.